Have you ever felt like your kindness goes unnoticed, or worse, taken for granted? If so, you're not alone. In today's world, true generosity often fades into the background. It's not celebrated, it's assumed. We're raised with one core commandment: give, share, sacrifice. We grow up believing that kindness is the purest form of strength. And while this is true in many ways, there's a silent cost. What if in always giving you lose more than you gain? What if the very people you try to help start expecting your help, demanding your time, feeding off your energy without ever giving back? The philosophy of Stoicism teaches balance. It urges us to help others, yes, but not at the cost of ourselves. Because too much kindness can become a burden, a mask that hides your fatigue, a chain that binds your time, a quiet erosion of your peace. Today, we explore that paradox. We'll uncover 10 hidden dangers of excessive kindness. And along the way, we'll discover 4 Stoic principles that can restore harmony to your life. So, if you've ever felt unseen, used, or emotionally drained by the very people you try to uplift, this message is for you. 1. Too much kindness can make you look weak. In a perfect world, kindness is seen as strength. But this world is far from perfect. When you're always available, always helpful, always saying yes, people might not admire your generosity. They might exploit it. The Stoics valued internal power, self-restraint, dignity, purpose. But when your time and energy become everyone else's resource, you risk being seen as someone who has no boundaries. Imagine someone who always cleans up the mess, takes the blame, stays late, gives without asking questions. It's noble until it's expected. Soon, people stop asking. They start assuming. You're no longer the kind one. You're the one who'll do it. That's when the line blurs. That's when people start treating you as a tool, not a person. The antidote? Learn to say no. Say it with kindness. Say it with firmness. Say it for your own sake. No isn't selfish. It's sacred. It's not rejection, it's self-respect. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. So next time you feel pressured to say yes, but everything inside you screams no, remember this. You're not here to be everyone's answer. You're here to walk your path, not be pulled down theirs. 2. Expecting too much will leave you disappointed. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control others, only ourselves. And yet, how often do we give with the secret hope that someone will return the favor? You offer support, you show up, you listen, and deep down, you hope that when you need them, they'll do the same. But then comes the silence. You look around, and suddenly the people you helped are nowhere to be found. And it hurts, because it wasn't just kindness. It was trust, time, emotion. We get disappointed, not because people failed us, but because we expected them not to. That's the trap. The Stoics knew this well. Blessed is he who expects nothing, for he shall never be disappointed. When you give, give freely. Give not because of what it will earn you, but because it aligns with your nature. Detach your kindness from outcomes. Detach your actions from applause. In this detachment, you find peace. Not the fragile peace that depends on how others treat you, but the unshakable calm of a person who knows their why. 3. Excessive giving attracts the wrong kind of people. Kindness is magnetic, but so is vulnerability. When you give constantly, tirelessly, endlessly, you don't just attract gratitude, you attract opportunists. There are those who respect your help, and there are those who see it as a weakness to be used. If you never say no, you'll find yourself surrounded by people who only know how to take. It's not always malicious. Sometimes it's habit. Sometimes it's need. But the result is the same. You give, they take, you break. Imagine your kindness as a well. if no one ever helps you refill it, one day it runs dry. Set boundaries. Attract those who honor what you offer, not those who drain it. Kindness should be a bridge, not a door that's always open, even in storm. 4. Losing yourself in the needs of others. In the quiet act of always helping, always giving, you can start to disappear. Your own needs get silenced. Your inner voice fades beneath the noise of others' demands. And when the world finally grows still, you're left alone with emotions you've long ignored. Anxiety, emptiness, fatigue. Stoicism teaches us, he who lives for others must never forget to live for himself. When you are constantly consumed by other people's pain, you begin to neglect your own healing. Helping others is noble, but not when it becomes a distraction from your own soul. There is wisdom in pausing, in asking, what do I need? What is my mind trying to tell me? You are not just a supporter. You are a whole person with your own voice, vision, and journey. Set boundaries, not as walls, but as mirrors. They show you what you've lost and where you must return. 5. The trap of constant giving. There's a strange illusion that the more you give, the more you will be loved. But giving without limit does not create connection. It creates dependency, and slowly, resentment. People become used to your yes. They stop thinking. They stop trying. Why would they, when you always show up to fix everything? Over time, this dynamic hurts both sides. They grow passive. You grow overwhelmed. And here's the paradox. By always helping, you're stopping others from growing. The Stoics cherished the idea of self-sufficiency. They believed in empowering others, not enabling them. Seneca once said, "True generosity is giving what is needed, not just what is asked." That one line holds deep truth. Sometimes, the kindest act is letting someone face discomfort so they can learn, so they can evolve. If you always carry others, they'll never walk on their own. Give, yes, but give with purpose. Give what elevates, not what enslaves. 6. Too much kindness can spark suspicion. We live in a skeptical world, one where kindness is often met with narrowed eyes and whispered questions. Why are they being so nice? What do they want in return? It's a tragic irony. Genuine goodness is now so rare, it feels unnatural. The Stoics taught us to act from virtue, not validation. But when your generosity is met with mistrust, it stings. Still, that doesn't mean you should stop giving. It means you should give clearly. Let your actions reflect your heart. Let your boundaries show your intent. Don't let cynicism harden you. Let it strengthen your clarity. You're not here to convince others. You're here to be. Consistency is the antidote to doubt. Over time, even the most suspicious eyes begin to see truth. 7. Risk of emotional dependency. When you're always there for everyone, you begin to believe you must be. This sense of duty grows until it morphs into guilt. You feel like if you don't help, you're failing. That's not kindness. That's emotional dependence, and it's dangerous. Because once your self-worth is tied to being needed, you start saying yes to protect your image, not because you want to. You bury your stress. You ignore your exhaustion. You smile, while your soul quietly begs for rest. Eventually, you may reach for anything to soothe the weight you carry. Food, distraction, escapism. The Stoic remedy? Self-awareness. They urged us to listen to our emotions, not to obey them blindly, but to understand their message. When someone you love expresses concern, don't brush it aside. Their worry is not an attack. It's a signal, a mirror. Healing begins with honesty, and it continues through boundaries. You are allowed to protect your peace. That doesn't make you cold, it makes you wise. 8. One-sided relationships. Think about the people in your life. Who shows up only when they need something? And who stays when you have nothing to offer? It's easy to become the reliable one, the fixer, the helper, the emotional safety net. But over time, you start to notice the silence in return. You're invited to help solve a crisis, but not to dinner. You're asked to stay late, but not to celebrate. And that's when it hits. You are valuable for what you do, not for who you are. This is where Stoicism guides us back to clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not what others say about you that matters, but how you respond." You don't need to explode or accuse. Just observe and realign. Genuine connection is mutual. It's not about constant giving, it's about shared presence. Start spending time with those who see you, not just your usefulness. 9. Weak boundaries with loved ones. Boundaries are hardest to set with those closest to us. Family, partners, lifelong friends. Why? Because we fear hurting them. We fear appearing cold, ungrateful, or selfish. But here's the Stoic truth. Real love includes respect for the other and for the self. When you say yes to everything a loved one asks, you silently say no to your own well-being. Over time, that builds resentment. Not because you gave too much, but because you gave without limits. Healthy relationships aren't built on sacrifice alone. They're built on mutual understanding, on open communication. You don't need to slam the door shut. You just need to gently close it halfway when it's been wide open for too long. Seneca once said, "Help your friends, but not at the expense of yourself, lest you become the one in need." That wisdom still echoes today. If someone you love asks you for more than you can give, be honest, be kind, be clear. Say, "I care deeply, but I have my own limits too." That's not coldness. That's truth. And real relationships mature. Grounded ones can withstand the truth. If they can't, that, too, is clarity. 10. Underestimating the value of your own time. Time is the most precious gift you possess. And yet, it's the one we give away the easiest. We say yes to every request. We fill every slot. We run, reply, attend, until the day runs out and we're left wondering where we went. The Stoics treated time like a sacred currency. More valuable than gold, more fleeting than wind. They knew you can make more money, you can buy more things, but you cannot manufacture another hour. Epictetus reminds us, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Ask yourself, how many hours have you spent doing things that didn't matter to you? That didn't serve your values, your peace, your purpose? Saying no isn't just about protection, it's about intention. Use your time with thought, with care, with focus. Not every favor deserves your hour. Not every meeting earns your morning. Learn to pause and ask, is this worth the minutes of my life I will never get back? Because every yes is a no to something else. Now that we've explored the hidden dangers of excessive kindness, it's time to flip the script, to shift from reactive kindness to wise, intentional generosity. Here are 4 Stoic strategies that will help you protect your energy and serve others without losing yourself. Strategy 1. Master the art of saying no. No is not rejection. It is redirection. It's not coldness. It's clarity. The Stoics didn't say no to life. They said no to distraction, to noise, to anything that pulled them away from purpose. When you say no to something misaligned, you say yes to something that matters. Practice this skill. Start small. Say no to obligations that drain you. Say no to favors that cause resentment. Say no to situations that pull you from your values. Every time you say no with courage, you reinforce your self-worth. You reclaim your time, your focus, your peace. This is not selfish. This is Stoic self-preservation. Strategy 2. Listen to your emotions. Don't silence them. There's a myth about Stoicism, that it's about suppressing emotion. In truth, it's about understanding it. Emotions are signals. They are your body's way of telling you something is off. When you feel drained after helping someone, that's not guilt. That's a message. When you feel used, bitter, or exhausted, those aren't signs that you're weak. They are signs that something needs to change. The Stoics didn't run from feeling. They examined it. Ask yourself after each interaction, how do I feel? Am I energized or empty? If you repeatedly feel depleted after helping someone, that is not kindness. That is a transaction without return. Make space for reflection. Make space for honest inner dialogue. Only through awareness can we correct course. Strategy 3. Beware of emotional vampires. Not everyone who needs your energy deserves your energy. Some people don't just take your time. They drain your spirit. They leave you heavier, more anxious, more exhausted every single time. These are emotional vampires. And though they may not mean harm, their presence consumes your mental and emotional reserves. The Stoics valued discernment. They believed in choosing wisely where to invest their attention and presence. If someone consistently leaves you feeling worse, ask yourself, why am I still offering them unlimited access to my peace? Setting boundaries doesn't mean cutting them off. It means limiting the power they have to affect your well-being. Maybe you reduce the time spent. Maybe you change how you respond. Maybe you choose silence over solving their endless storms. You can care without carrying. You can love without losing your balance. Protecting your energy is not rejection, it's respect for your own emotional health. Strategy 4. Create sacred time for yourself. In a world obsessed with productivity, doing nothing has become a lost art. But you need quiet. You need solitude. You need space. The Stoics understood this deeply. They retreated often into silence, not to escape the world, but to return to it with clarity. Your time for yourself is not optional. It's oxygen. Without it, you cannot breathe fully. Mark time on your calendar that belongs only to you. Whether it's reading, walking, painting, meditating, or simply being, treat it like a meeting with your soul. And when others try to interrupt it, protect it. Say, I have a commitment. You don't owe an explanation. You owe yourself that hour. This is not selfishness. This is self-sustainability. Only when your cup is full can you pour into others. Only when your mind is quiet can you hear your deepest truths. Conclusion. Kindness, when rooted in wisdom, becomes power. Kindness is beautiful. It can heal, inspire, connect. But when it becomes compulsive, when it lacks limits, it can silently break you. The Stoics teach us that balance is the key to everything. Too little generosity, and we become cold. Too much, and we become empty. The solution isn't to stop giving. It's to start giving intentionally. Protect your time like a treasure. Protect your energy like a flame. And protect your heart like it's your only home, because it is. When in doubt, pause. Ask, is this giving helping others or hollowing me? The answer will come. Let no become your ally when yes begins to hurt. Let reflection become your daily ritual. Let wisdom guide your compassion. And remember, a Stoic life isn't about becoming cold, it's about becoming clear. Let your kindness be deliberate. Let it uplift without enslaving. Let it serve both the world and yourself. Because when you learn to give without losing yourself, that is when your kindness truly becomes power. Bonus insight. The Stoic triangle: wisdom, boundaries, balance. Imagine a triangle at each corner, a guiding principle of the Stoic approach to generosity. At the top, wisdom. At the base, boundaries and balance. Wisdom helps you discern when to give and when to withhold. It teaches you to examine motive, both yours and others. Ask yourself, am I helping because I want to, or because I feel I must? Am I responding to need or to guilt? Boundaries protect that wisdom. They are the lines you draw not to keep people out, but to keep your inner peace in. A Stoic knows You cannot control others. You can only control your responses, your limits, your effort. And balance? Balance is the middle path between apathy and martyrdom. It's the art of giving with your eyes open and your heart intact. It means understanding that some days you'll have more to offer and some days less. And that's okay. Even nature rests. Like the tide, you are meant to rise and to retreat. The whisper of regret versus the voice of intention. Have you ever felt the quiet whisper of regret after saying yes when you meant no? It's not loud. It doesn't scream. It just lingers in your stomach, in your sighs, in your fatigue. Now, imagine the difference when your yes is rooted in intention. When you pause, breathe, consider, and choose. That yes feels light, empowering, whole. This is what Stoicism teaches us, not to say no to life, but to say yes with wisdom. Because every time you honor your inner truth, you align more deeply with who you really are. You move from survival to sovereignty, from reaction to response, from being pulled to standing firm. You are not a resource. You are a human being. Let's say it again clearly, gently, honestly. You are not a service. You are not a permanent solution. You are not a battery for other people's storms. You are a living, breathing soul with limits, with beauty, with fragility. And protecting that isn't selfish. It's sacred. Kindness is only real when it includes you in its radius. If it leaves you last, it's not kindness, it's erasure. Start reclaiming that space. Speak up when you're tired. Pause before committing. Say no when your soul asks you to. Let your life become an act of conscious giving, not unconscious depletion. A final reflection. Stoic generosity in modern life. In a world that often screams, give more, be more, do more. Let your quiet refusal be an act of rebellion. You are not here to prove your worth through exhaustion. You are here to live wisely, to serve meaningfully, to give without breaking. Remember what Seneca said. No person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they don't have, and to cheerfully put to good use what they do have. What you have time, energy, presence is precious. Use it well. Let your giving be powerful, not performative. Let your help be conscious, not compulsive. Let your boundaries be kind, but unshakable. And above all, let your kindness begin with you. Every yes shapes your identity. Your actions repeated day by day are bricks. They build the home you live in. Each yes is one such brick. Say yes too often to the wrong things, and you might wake up in a house you don't recognize. You'll look around and ask, whose life am I living? Whose needs am I serving? This is why Stoic practice emphasizes intentional living. Each choice, each answer, each pause, they aren't just reactions. They're design. So, choose your yeses carefully. Let them align with who you are. Let them reflect your values, not your fears. Let them carry your energy, not drain it. And when you say yes, mean it with your whole soul. Anything less is a disservice to both you and them. When saying no is the greatest act of love, it feels counterintuitive, doesn't it? That sometimes the most loving response is refusal. But think of it like this. Would you rather give someone part of you with resentment or none of you with peace? A resentful yes poisons the relationship. A mindful no preserves it. True generosity comes from fullness, not obligation. The Stoics didn't advocate detachment from people. They advocated detachment from dependency. When you say no, you are inviting others to grow, to stretch, to become more self-reliant. That's love in a higher form, not love that rescues, but love that empowers. Kindness is a flame guard. Think of your kindness as a flame. When it's protected, it warms the room. It offers light. It brings comfort to those around you. But when it's left exposed to the wind of endless demands, it flickers, shrinks, and eventually burns out. You can't light the world if your own fire has gone cold. This is not philosophy. This is physics of the soul. The Stoics understood that guarding your inner fire was not selfishness, but duty. Because without it, you become a shadow of yourself. And shadows cannot serve the world. Tend to your flame. Let it burn slow. Let it burn true. That way, when others gather near, they feel warmth, not ashes. From self-sacrifice to self-alignment, there is a powerful shift that happens when you move from self-sacrifice to self-alignment. You stop living by guilt. You start living by guidance. Your decisions become cleaner. Not easier, but cleaner. Because now they come from center, not from fear of rejection, judgment, or not being good enough. This shift doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. You'll still feel the tug to please. You'll still hear the old voice saying, you should do more. But you'll also hear a new voice. Quiet, but steady. The one that says, this isn't right for me. I matter too. That voice is your compass. The Stoics called it reason aligned with virtue. Follow it, especially when it feels hard. Let your life be a living philosophy. You don't need to memorize ancient texts to live like a Stoic. You simply need to apply the truths they lived by. Pause before you commit. Reflect after you give. Speak kindly but with spine. Live deliberately. And perhaps most importantly, stay rooted. Because storms will come, requests will pile up. The world will always want a piece of you, but you decide what gets your yes. You decide where your kindness flows. You decide what sacred part of you remains untouched. That is philosophy. Not in words, but in being. Your time is not an inheritance. It's a choice. You weren't born to live by default. To be at the mercy of every request, every phone call, every quick favor. You were born with time, not as a gift to others, but as a field to cultivate with your own hands. The Stoics asked, how are you spending your life? Not just your money, not just your energy, but your very life. Because every moment you say yes to something unaligned is a moment you say no to your deeper purpose. Time is not inherited. It's not renewable. It is the one currency no one can repay. So treat it as sacred. Treat it as yours. Say yes with meaning. Say no with grace. Let every hour of your life echo your values, not just the volume of others' needs. You are allowed to be whole. This may be the most radical idea of all. You are allowed to rest, to pull back, to not explain yourself, to say no, to do nothing. You are allowed to be whole. Not a fixer, not a hero, not a silent supporter of everyone else's story, but a full human, with your own narrative, your own limits, your own quiet truth. Stoicism doesn't ask you to abandon others. It asks you to include yourself in the moral equation. You matter. And when you begin to act like it, the world doesn't fall apart. It adjusts. The people who truly value you won't leave when your boundaries show up. They'll respect you more. Because finally, they'll see all of you, not just the parts they benefit from. Let go of the need to be understood. One of the hardest Stoic lessons. You can live wisely, give intentionally, and still be misunderstood. People might say, you've changed. You're selfish now. You used to be so generous. Let them talk. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to be true to yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing what a good person should be. Be one. You don't need to explain your no. You don't need to apologize for protecting your energy. You don't need to feel guilt for choosing peace over performance. Let your clarity speak louder than your defense. Over time, those who see you clearly will stay, and those who don't will fall away like leaves in autumn. And that's okay. The inner circle test here's a practical exercise. Close your eyes and imagine a circle around you. Inside that circle are the people who respect your time, honor your boundaries, and add peace to your life. Everyone else, they stay outside. This isn't arrogance. This is intentionality. You get to choose who has access to your mental space, your emotional bandwidth, your daily energy. The Stoics were selective with their attention, not because they didn't care, but because they cared deeply about living well. Try the inner circle test this week. You might be surprised by who belongs and who only takes. Being useful is not the same as being valued. Let's make one thing clear. Being appreciated for what you do is not the same as being loved for who you are. It's easy to conflate the two, to think that your usefulness equals your worth, that your value lives in your productivity, your help, your presence in others' lives. But what happens when you stop showing up? When you're no longer convenient? Do they disappear? Do they turn cold? Do they guilt trip you for drawing a line? That's your answer. You deserve relationships that don't hinge on your output. You deserve to be loved, not just leveraged. Kindness is a gift, not a contract, and you are more than your service. Silence is also a response. There's power in silence. You don't always need to defend your boundaries. You don't need to explain your absence. You don't need to justify your peace. Sometimes, your quiet withdrawal is louder than confrontation. Sometimes, the fact that you stopped engaging says more than any explanation ever could. The Stoics often spoke less than they acted. They knew that the world rarely listens to noise, but always watches alignment. Let your life become your loudest truth. Let your actions reflect your deepest peace. You owe no one the parts of you that cost too much to give. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. When you stop chasing approval, you start attracting respect. When you stop overgiving, you start receiving real connection. When you stop explaining, you start standing. Stoicism isn't about shrinking. It's about standing quietly, firmly, wholly, not to dominate, but to remain anchored in storms, to remain present in chaos, to remain yourself when the world asks you to bend. This is how you move from kindness to stoic grace. The life you're meant to build begins at no. Every wise no is a door closing on the noise and opening to purpose. It's the pause before the breakthrough, the silence before the symphony, the rest before the rising. The life you're meant to build doesn't come from saying yes to everything. It comes from saying yes to the right things, from knowing your values, from protecting your soul, from walking away when it costs your peace. That is Stoicism, not theory, practice. In the end, you are the keeper of the flame. No one will guard your inner world like you can. No one will protect your peace like you must. And no one, no matter how close, how well-meaning, how beloved, should be allowed to burn out your flame in the name of love. You are not just a helper, not just a giver, not just a listener. You are a soul, a life, a journey in motion. You deserve space. You deserve quiet. You deserve to give from fullness, not from fracture. Final words. A stoic life of kindness and strength. Let your kindness be powerful. Let your giving be thoughtful. Let your love be fierce, and your boundaries even fiercer. Be the person who gives without seeking applause and says no without feeling guilt. Be the one who helps but only when it doesn't hurt. Be the one who chooses peace over people-pleasing, clarity over chaos, depth over approval. And above all, be the one who remembers, kindness without wisdom becomes martyrdom. But kindness with wisdom, that becomes a legacy. A life not just lived, but led. Let this be the path you walk. Not one of endless giving, but one of honest, whole, stoic grace. Until next time, stand firm, breathe deep, and let your light burn on your own terms. If this message spoke to something inside you, let it echo further. Subscribe to the channel, not for us, but for you. Because every week, we explore ideas that anchor your soul, calm your mind, and sharpen your inner compass. Hit the bell, join the journey, and let wisdom walk with you one quiet truth at a time. Until then, stay kind, stay clear, and stay stoic.